and happy Pi Day.
Hello, everybody, and happy 4th anniversary for Pi, also Nefertiti Day. Welcome to yet another unending Ask an Engineer. We do this every single week.
That's right.
Except for the few times we took a break. But other than that, we've been doing this for 6 years. It's me, Lady Ada, founder engineer. With me is Mr. Lady Ada, and we also have a hemp-printed bust of Nefertiti.
That's right.
So it is a party here. We're going to have an exciting show tonight. As you have seen, there might be some Pi 3 action. We may even give away a Pi 3. Who knows?
Oh yeah, that's probably going to be the giveaway. Yeah, they're hard to get, but we're giving one away for free.
I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah.
But tune in. You might get hints to win a free Pi 3. What's on tonight's show?
Okay, on tonight's show, the code is SkinnyPixel. That's all the way up to 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time tonight. That gives you 10% off in our store for everything except for gift certificates and software. Show and tell. People showing and sharing their hearts, minds, and dreams every week. Lady Ada will talk about who's on the show and tell, what they share. Pack the mail back then, stop by. These are the emails and letters and things you send us. Thank you so much. Help Wanted, the Adafruit Jobs Board, the best place online to post your skills. And also, if you're a cool company and you want makers to work with you, this is the place. Time travel, look back in the world of hackers, makers, artists, engineers, pioneers in all sorts of ways. 3D printing, Pi News, we'll have new products, we'll answer your questions, we'll have a trivia question, all that and more on Ask an Engineer.
Yay!
Okay. So that is what's going to be on the show tonight.
I'm wearing an EFF shirt today.
Yeah,
representing because there's a lot of interesting stuff happening in the news. We'll talk about it a little bit maybe. Or
yeah, well, we actually, in our time travel section, we're going to talk about the EFF a little bit.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah, good timing. So first up, let's pay the bills again. Code is SkinnyPixel all the way up to 11:59.
Not to be confused with Skinny LED, not noise with the
sales. Sorry.
So same day delivery.
Yeah, sorry, I was watching some YouTube Live was
spazzing. Okay. Well, we have same day delivery in New York City. If you're in New York City on checkout, your delivery address is in the correct zip code that we ship to, you'll have the option of same day delivery. Order by 11 a.m. in the morning, and you will get it by like 5-ish p.m. in the evening. We have to pay a courier to come here pick it up. We don't have in-person pickup, so this is the best thing instead, in New York City. So it's working out really well. A lot of people who work in agencies or are artists or have a project they're working on that's really important. They really need that same day. We can do that. Other than that, we have next day delivery as well, and almost worldwide.
Okay. Next up, don't forget, this is the show. You're watching it. Ask an Engineer.
We just finished show and tell.
Yeah. And 8 p.m. every single week, Wednesday nights. And then Desk of Lady Ada, we do Desk of Lady Ada throughout the week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, sometimes Fridays,
weekends,
Saturdays and Sundays. So
we had a special bonus 3 a.m. stream on Monday or Sunday night, Monday morning. That was pretty exciting.
Yeah. And then also, let's do show and tell. So, show and tell.
I'm going to go through who was showing up show and tell. Show and tell was really fun, super chill today. Tony Nicola showed up from Adafruit Northwest. He didn't have a live demo. Instead, he's been talking about his live streaming. He's been doing live streams every week, tends to be on Friday. The most recent one was about OpenGL and writing OpenGL code for the Raspberry Pi using the new OpenGL driver that recently got released with Python. He did some graphic stuff, and he'll probably be doing another stream next Friday from the desk of Tony D, so check that out. Noah and Pedro showed off their Nefertiti hemp filament planter that they designed. This is they printed one out for us. No green things grow in Manhattan, so we're not going to have a planter, but we can drink out of it or something, or store socks. I don't know. It's an awesome Nefertiti bust. They got the files that were posted and cleaned them up and made them easy to print on your 3D printer. So print one out. These are awesome. Maybe make a small one and put pens in it. We had Justin come in with a project he made for indoor cycling using a Feather M0, a Bluefruit Classic Easy Key, and a 1.8-inch TFT to make an indoor group cycling thing where you cycle with friends. I guess it's like a cyber virtual cycling thing. I don't know the name of it, but he does it with his friends. And he says rather than having a keyboard and dripping sweat on this keyboard, he uses this custom built thing, and it looks really, really cool. It looks professional. It's kind of neat. And he said, thanks for designing such a good tutorial system with Learn, because you made it really easy. So thanks, Justin.
So you kind of just put all the components together, and it just worked, and that was our goal. And then he did this neat circuit board. And he had a prototype that was all wired together. It was cool. Cool project.
And then Andrew showed up, and he had some awesome photos of Cub Scouts that he's teaching. He mentors some young women, young men in their lives to learn about science and technology. And so he had some photos of them getting some of their badges and an award ceremony after they've got some badges. So that's really cool. He also got a laser engraver from China, and he put it together, and he said it worked. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I don't. Maybe we'll get one of those. We'll put it together at home. They'll be like super trouble. Watch out. Be careful of those. Don't leave unattended, especially if there's no guard or protection on it. Mike showed up, and he made a really awesome Daft Punk helmet, like a lot of 3D printed parts, NeoPixels. He made a vacuum form out of 3D printed parts and bonded over. It was kind of interesting. Like you would use foam or something, but he actually 3D printed a bunch of stuff, pieces, glued them together, bonded over, sanded it down cleanly, and then vacuum formed over it to make the lens, which is the really tough part, with that particular helmet. And then there's Arduino Uno in there right now with NeoPixels, but he's going to add Bluetooth Low Energy as one of our little BLE modules. Yeah. And then it'll probably, we have a tutorial on the other, I don't remember the names. We have this visor one that Noah and Pedro did. So maybe he'll use that code to add animations and effects and stuff. So that's cool. And then C. Scott came in and played some classical music. This was a 2 notes at a time, like a classical MIDI that had only dual polyphonic, I guess, like only 2 notes played at once. And he played it on 2 Chromanius modules. So he said, hey, I built the synthesizer and I'm making music on it. So it's actually fulfilling the obligations that it had when it was built. So good work, C. Scott. Thanks for showing off.
Okay, all participants on the show and tell get an As Seen on your show and tell sticker. All you have to do is email support@adafruit.com. If you're on the show and tell, we will send you one. To get on the show and tell, what you have to do is go to google.com/plus Adafruit, and you'll see the show and tell link every Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. The rooms fill up pretty fast, so just get there. You'll see a link. Join. Some
Refresh.
suggestions.
F5.
Some suggestions. Make sure all your applications are closed and everything. Sometimes the microphone or the camera gets grabbed by another app, so just have that ready. When you come in, just mute your mics, and then we'll call on you. And if you miss one week, don't worry. We're here every week. Okay, mailbag.
Okay. It's Packet the Happy Mailbag with Converse stickers.
So every week we read these. We have an entire, we have a company meeting called State of the Fruit. We do that every single week. And it's to show and share all the great news and the things and your company. Sometimes there's challenges. Sometimes you got to figure out what the best 401k plan is, or the best benefits, or which days to take off.
Or sometimes it's just whatever benefits day, just do the opposite.
Yeah, or sometimes there's companies out there that don't do such a good job, and we talk about like how do we avoid those problems. But we also make sure that we read the letters that people send us, our customers. And one of them came from Jared, and Jared says, I see you guys were so popular. I own and operate a large e-commerce enterprise as well. This is how we treat our customers, and this is how online service should be. So Jared had a good experience. Thank you much.
Thanks, Jared.
Jared.
And I like that he actually knows what it's like to run a store. There's a lot going on. We work really hard to give people the best experience, having great documentation, great products. It's a team effort. We have like 90 people in-house working on everything from manufacturing to shipping to customer support to facilities to networking. Everything has to come together as a group to have us be able to ship you an Arduino Uno. Like there's so many pieces. It's not. Yeah. It's like it's a team effort. So that's why we have pizza every Friday and we celebrate by reading these letters. Thank you, Jared. And other people, feel free to send us lovely notes. Yeah. We appreciate it. Oftentimes, people only send notes when something went wrong. Yeah. But we like notes when things go right. Yeah. Today there was an unhappy customer because their package got destroyed by the shipping company. It was either postal or UPS. And they assume we did it, but we don't do that. We don't destroy packages before we ship them. It was, there's like you gotta pay extra. Well, it's like little tire tracks, we don't. And so, I love that. Yeah, we do the best we can, but that's the way it is. We hear that when that happens. But if you have a nice note, just send it to us. Of course, and of course, we have insurance, and we'll help you get your package replaced. But be cool, man. Be cool, because it makes it easier to help you if we don't have to. Yeah. Be cool before. Be excellent is what we say here. Okay. Help Wanted, this is Adafruit Jobs Board. This is the place online that we made for people to post their skills if they want a cool job, or if they're a company that wants to hire makers that kind of use our stuff. So this week, this is kind of neat.
This one comes from Justin, and Justin is custom-built LEDs for jewelry. He's a jewelry designer looking for someone that can create the smallest battery-powered LEDs that can physically be made, and goes into lots of different details on what the LEDs need to be.
I like how specific he is.
Very specific, linked to an Adafruit product, and they're looking to team up with someone to make some really cool LED jewelry.
Check out the, I published the design files for the power, the eye necklace, and that was a single LED with a button, and it's about, it's definitely smaller than 17 by 17 by 7, so you might be able to adapt that. I use a little microcontroller, to pulse the LEDs. So if you need something to like control a button or like change modes, like check out the code. And it's open source, so you're totally free to do it.
Okay, and we're reminding everyone the dronies are here. This is Adafruit's video drone contest. If you have footage or know someone or seen cool footage, you can win one of these great 3D printed drone awards. And we have a very cool group of judges that'll be looking at the videos that you submit. It's adafruit.com/dronies.
These are the most qualified judges.
Yeah.
And what's cool is they're all doing robotics or technology or electronics or documentation or science fiction. So let's go through our amazing judges panel.
So Ann Lee, editor-in-chief, formerly of IO9 Science Fiction Blog, Kara Riley, surgical roboticist, was on the cover of May. Christy was one of the co-founders. This is one of the co-founders of Instructables, and also now at Autodesk. Danielle is from Gotena, another Danielle from Other Machine. We sell those and we use those.
CNC machines.
Helen, former co-founder of iRobot, now CEO of Sci-Fi Works, which is a drone company. Jennifer from DigiKey.
Make electronics.
Lenore from Evil Mad Scientist.
Evil Mad Scientist.
Lisa from iRobot.
They make robots.
Liz from Raspberry Pi.
Come on, you know what that
Sophie from Hackaday. Star, who was just on our show last week, and Jessica, who's at
the godfather of
Taco
Copter.
And Jessica, she's in charge of community support and publishing. And Becky, who is here at Adafruit for 4 years, and now she's doing her own thing. She actually has some cool videos that
she's done some cool drone photos too.
And she's a judge, and she has a drone too.
All these people have excellent taste. Love robotics or electronics. We'd love to see what you're doing. Anything that you're doing with a quadcopter or a drone. The rules are pretty flexible. If it's cool,
just submit
it.
Send a link to the cool video drone footage.
We just want to see cool stuff.
Okay. Next up, so some open source hardware news. I'm just gonna blend these into a couple different things. So Arduino Day is coming up. If you like Arduino, this is from arduino.cc. A little bit of a reminder, we make the Arduinos here in the USA now. So look for arduino.cc. Tell the resellers you want arduino.cc. Arduinos, they're made here in the USA. Support USA manufacturing and Arduino. So Arduino Day is coming up April 2nd. We'll remind everyone as it gets closer, but we'll be doing a big thing that day. It is a Saturday, so that means we can do kind of a full day of fun Arduino stuff.
Yeah, if you buy an Arduino Uno or Arduino Mega, it's manufactured here in New York. Isn't that awesome? Yay! So celebrate Arduino Day. A lot has happened in a year. Some great Arduinos have been released since then. We got the Maker 1000, which I hope to get my hands on. The Arduino Zero, which is like my new favorite Arduino. Like the design has changed. The IDE now has board package support, which is like amazing. It has like totally revolutionized everything. We've got other boards that use the Arduino IDE that are part of this ecosystem, like the ESP8266. I just think it's awesome. Like I think Arduino is stronger than ever and has a better community than ever, and people are doing more than ever.
Yeah.
And the Arduino 101 just came out. I mean, you can now run Arduino from anything from a 40-cent AT-Tiny 45 or 25 up to like a quad core like Linux computer. Like you can have anything be Arduino compatible. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Not just an ID.
We do the Unos, the Micros, the Megas.
And starter kits coming very soon.
Yeah, and then we'll have a few more. So, and we also do the, of course, Arduino Gemma, which is
of course
based
the
on
Gemma. Yeah.
Okay, so let's move right along. We have time travel. So this is a look back in the world of hackers, artists, engineers, pioneers, and more. This week, timely, and I didn't really time this, but happy birthday EFF, 26 years. So in 1990, Steve Jackson Games was raided by the United States Secret Service, prompting the later formation of the EFF. So it was motivated by the massive search and seizure on Steve Jackson Games executed by the U.S. Secret Service in 1999. Similar, but officially unconnected law enforcement raids were being conducted around the U.S. So this was a high-profile case, and this is what prompted it. And also they, it was the same year of the Big Dummies Guide to the Internet and Electronic Freedom Foundation publication that was made available for free download.
Great, I'm glad
You got an EFF Pioneer Award for all of your open source work, and so did Bunny, and so did a lot of other people that we know. So you're in good company.
Yay! And right now, there's EFF is closely following and perhaps even advising on the Apple unlocking case, which is really exciting. Like last night, I stayed up and read the Orenstein decision. So a lot of interesting stuff going on. A lot of interesting intersection of code and law, and that's where the EFF really, that's where their strength is. And that's what they do for us, is they help interpret the law and adapt code to make them work together.
Like your digital rights online are more important than ever, especially now that the physical things that we have in life aren't as important or are becoming less important than the digital things that we have, your identity, your rights to things. There was
privacy online.
Yeah, privacy online. And we're coming into some interesting territories where do people have the right to encrypt things or not? Do people have the right to share their files and not have to worry about people doing things with them, like this eBay thing that happened with 3D printing? Do people have the right to buy a 3D printer and not have the filament DRM'd? So if you try,
or do they have the right to hack that DRM?
Or do they have the right to reverse engineer it and hack it? So it'll be interesting. This is a very neat time. I think that we're in the transition of a lot of laws catching up with a lot of technology, and it's always moving, and we live in a global world, as they say. So it's a little bit of whack-a-mole. If something changes in one place, it might pop up somewhere else. So it'll be interesting. So happy anniversary, EFF, 26 years. All right, so speaking of 3D printing.
Zip, zip, zip.
Here we go. This week, there's the Nefertiti scan and print, and then we have a time lapse. So let's first play the video from Noah and Pedro. Take it away.
Hey, what's up everybody? Noah here for Adafruit. Got some 3D printing news for you. So the bust of Queen Nefertiti is a 3,000-year-old work of art that was found in Egypt by German archaeologists in 1912. Currently, it's in a museum in Berlin with limited access to the public. Basically, there are no photos allowed. And for years, Germany and Egypt have fought over its rightful location, and the officials even claim that she was illegally stolen. So 2 artists secretly 3D scanned the bust and released the files to the public as a free download. Although museums have already scanned Nefertiti's bust, they actually don't plan to make it public, which seems kind of backwards because there's a lot of museums around the world that are hosting scan-a-thons. That's where they let people use their smartphones to take a bunch of pictures of things, objects, and to make 3D scans of them. So as a way of bringing her back to Egypt, the 2 artists 3D printed a 1-to-1 copy, which is like the most precise replica ever made. So that bust now resides in the American University of Cairo. This is like pirate 3D printing, folks. So we thought we would download the file and 3D print it ourselves on our 3D printer. We're amazed just how much detail was captured in the model. I mean, every little crack, chip, and scratch is fully visible, which is no surprise because the mesh has a whopping 9 million polygons. It's so detailed that if you throw it in your slicing software, it'll probably crash if you try to print it as is. So we used a program called Mesh Mixer, which is from Autodesk, and we reduced the polygon count to 50% and did a little bit of tweaking to it so that it's better for printing on an FDM style 3D printer like we have here in the back. So we chopped off the bottom so that it's completely flat, and that's going to make it a lot easier to print, especially without a raft. We also hollowed it out and cut off the top because we think it would kind of make an epic planter. Plus it will save a lot on printing, on time and material, so that's always a good thing. So we used the Type A Machine Series 1 3D printer and scaled it to the max. That's a massive 30 centimeters tall. And even as a shell with no infill, it took over 23 hours to 3D print, which actually isn't a lot of time when you think about how long it took to get from Egypt to our studio here in South Florida. And instead of using typical plastic like PLA or ABS, we actually used a PLA composite mixed with hemp. Yes, you heard it right, hemp, because why not? We're already 3D printing an illegal copy, you might as well go big or go home. So here she is, fully finished in all her glory. We're just amazed how well it turned out. Really nice details, all the overhangs came out really well, which actually isn't really easy to do, especially with a large print. A lot of things can go wrong, like you can run out of filament, or the printer could crap out on you halfway the print, and then you cry for lots of hours. But anyway, we went ahead and uploaded a remix to our Thingiverse page so you folks can 3D print her out and 3D print it yourself. But hey, if you don't have access to a 3D printer, you can always have a service like 3D Hubs print it out for you. Guys, if you want to hear more about how she was 3D scanned and more details about the two artists, we have some links down below in the doobly-doo, which has some articles there. I definitely recommend it. It is a really good read. And guys, if you're new to the channel, welcome. We usually do weekly 3D printing DIY projects, so be sure to subscribe to our channel for more 3D printing projects, or you can just check out our playlist. We have like over 200 project videos to check out. But until next time, guys, I will see you guys later. Bye. She's hollow, see? Okay, now we're gonna go plant something in her. Give her a nice hairdo.
All right, and here it is. And
it's cool.
It's really neat because there's a lot of talk about that this was kind of liberated from the museum. This is the first time a lot of people can see it in the scan that come out. So unknown exactly the origins of this scan, but either way, cool that.
But
it's
this
in
is
the hands of
beautiful.
people.
I mean, like it's amazing to. The resolution of the printers is so good. You can really see what the sculpture is, and it's like normally we would never have access to the sculpture. I mean, we could get a reproduction, but like now you can just 3D print your own.
Kind of see. I think there's a resemblance. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have similar noses.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, she's really beautiful.
Yeah. So next up, let's look at a time-lapse Tuesday with this printout. Okay, and
that's cool.
Don't forget, tomorrow, 3D Hangouts with Noah and Pedro will have more videos and more content and just the best 3D printing every single week online at adafruit.com. Check out youtube.com/adafruit to see it tomorrow. Okay, the big news this week was the Raspberry Pi 4-year anniversary. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Raspberry Pi. Happy
Everybody
birthday to you.
had Raspberry Pis instead of cake. But last week,
Raspberry cake.
there was the FCC document. There's this FCC Twitter account that tweets whatever was registered with FCC. So people are like, ooh, there's a new Raspberry Pi. And then you could follow the links. And because we had our shipment coming and we have a friendship with the Pi Foundation, normally if there was, other types of leaks in the technology world, maybe we would cover it. But this one, we have a agreement. We trust each other, and so
we don't have an NDA or anything.
Yeah,
we're actually just like friends.
We have a friend DA.
They said, "Hey, can you please let us do the launch the way we want to do it?"
We never. Okay. Yeah, we don't ruin it for anyone. So there was a bunch of leaks that came out, and we just watched from the sidelines. And print catalogs. This was from CPC. They have to do things in advance, so the print catalogs hit some mailboxes. And then Farnell and RS both had leaked PDFs because they have these big, massive e-com sites that have to have like a content
There's
management
like thousands
system.
of people, and they're like, oh, I'll just do it the night before, and then
So the first thing that came out was this Farnell PDF, and then that was removed. And then afterwards, this RS comparison PDF, and that was removed. And then a couple photos came out, and it's the Raspberry Pi 3. And I guess, LADYADA, why don't you just quickly, before we get to new products, which is the Pi 3, what were the big things about the Pi 3 that were interesting?
Okay.
Like the high level stuff.
The high level stuff is it's the same shape and size as the Raspberry Pi B Plus and Pi 2, so it's still got that Ethernet port, 4 USB ports, micro USB for power, micro SD card, HDMI, and AV port, but the chip has been updated. So instead of a BCM 28, 2857. It's the 2058. It's an ARM Core V8 processor. It runs a lot faster, has the same amount of RAM, but basically it's like 50% faster than the Pi 2, so it launches faster. It can run programs and emulate stuff a lot better. You do need to have a new SD card, but you can basically do all the stuff you did with the Pi, but just more. And it has built-in Bluetooth Classic, Bluetooth Low Energy, and Wi-Fi chipset. So you don't need an external dongle for those. It's baked right in, which is why there was an FCC filing.
Okay. So let's get to new products, and then we'll show the Pi 3, and there'll probably be a lot of questions.
Yeah, of course.
So let's keep moving along.
Okay.
Before we go to new products, SkinnyPixel is code. 10% off all the way up to all the way up to
11:59.
all the way up to 11:59, which is also an Adafruit time.
Yeah.
What time is it? It's Adafruit time.
Adafruit time.
It's time to get to the store and save 10%.
Adafruit o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay.
So new products.
New. All
right. You've been doing that for a while. We got to do a thing that's actually the
theme is going to be just me going.
Yeah.
New.
Okay. So I got a video.
Okay. We have, a fun, it's like, how many NeoPixels can you carry? Well, all of them, because they're all really cool. Trust me, there's a lot that we don't carry, but these I really liked. So these are particularly great for wearables. These are super skinny NeoPixels. So if you've seen the mini NeoPixels that we've had on the Feather NeoPixel wing, these are much thinner than normal NeoPixel strips. Instead of using 5 by 5 millimeter NeoPixels or 3.5 by 3.5 NeoPixels, they're pretty much the same brightness. I didn't notice a significantly less bright effect. You still have the same code. They're code compatible. They're just much smaller. And so the strips of LEDs are also much thinner. And we have them in, this is 30 LED per meter.
Yeah, and I'll show the videos if you want to just skip to that.
Yeah, and then this is the 60 LED per meter. There's also 144 LED per meter, but it's not that much thinner because, like, to get the density, the capacitor makes it a little thicker. So I'm not sure if I'm going to carry the 144s, but the 60 LEDs are much thinner, and I'll show them on the overhead as well. And then can you go to the next photo just so I can show
Well,
that?
I was gonna, and then this is the other
That's
one.
the same. Yeah, it's just black flex versus white flex.
Yeah.
Same basic
So
thing.
there's the white
So then you
flex.
can see, yeah, it's a lot thinner compared to the normal NeoPixels. So this is really good for wearables. I think if you want a really slim effects, or if you want to fit it into some enclosure that's extra small. So this is the skinny NeoPixel, and this is normal NeoPixel. So you can really see it's about half the thickness, half the width. So grabbing my calipers, and I'm measuring, what is the flex PCB inside of the
those
sheathing.
are really skinny.
It's 5 millimeters, and then this one is about 10 millimeters. So it's about half the thickness because, most of they actually also focus on being, like, these could be thinner too, but they're like, oh, I'm just going to stick with 10 millimeter. But for these, they really are just about as wide as the LEDs themselves, so only a little bit more, basically 5 millimeters, only a little bit wider than the 3.5. Uses the same power, same protocol and everything, but just skinny. They're actually basically about the same price too. So if you want to, for this, it's perfect for, like, I was thinking of doing a jacket with LEDs in it.
Yeah.
So this is way better. I mean, half the thickness, basically you get the same density of pixels, but you have much more freedom and flexibility. If you're making, like, the LED wig, these will be a lot lighter as well. And then remember, they have a weatherproof sheathing, but you can cut that off and then just strip it off and then just have the raw LED if you want to have maximum thinness. They're also a little thinner in this direction, but I don't remember the exact number. I think it's just like maybe 0.1 or 0.2 millimeters thinner, but they're skinny. I like that. It's cute.
Yeah.
A little tougher to solder too, but whatever.
Okay. And like I said, we have all these videos that show
lovely
what they're doing. Yeah,
lovely
these are
videos.
The different densities.
30 and 60 LED per meter. So sweet.
And it's hard to tell, but there's the black ones and the white ones.
Yeah, basically we just have both types, and
Okay.
basically people want half of one, half of the other,
Yeah.
so we just carry both.
Okay. Next up.
Okay, this is a feather accessory. I just love having a feather accessory every week, and this is this week's feather accessory. This is a terminal block wing. So this is kind of like an underwing. It has prototyping area, but more importantly, it has terminal blocks for everything. And so it comes as a kit, you solder together, and when you're done, you basically can plug in your feather, and then you have two big screw terminal strips on either side that break out all of the pins, and there's also an on-off switch, which I'll demo. And it's just like really handy. People just love this stuff for wiring fast, either permanent or temporary connections. You can do either. If you have an installation and you want to just like have wires going to a motor controller or to something else, and size isn't important, you don't mind it a little bit bigger. This is great. You get a little bit of prototyping area, all the terminal blocks, extra power and ground connections, and then an on-off switch. So I thought I'd show this on the overhead.
Okay.
Okay, so,
Oh, we lost overhead.
Yeah,
You want to plug and
okay.
unplug?
Yeah.
See what you can do. I think we lost some overhead. That's okay.
Only right when you went over to it, which is kind of fascinating.
It happens sometimes.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure exactly what's going on there.
Yeah, can you do it again?
Oh, yeah.
How many other things do you have on the overhead today?
This is it. This,
we have the pie though.
The pie, yeah, if we can do it. But we also have really good photos of the pie.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you can talk about it a little bit more while I do a couple of things here.
Oh, sure. So it works with all of our feathers. So the M0, 32U4, the blue fruits, whatever. I just have a photo of it with the Huzzah. The only one that it won't work so well with is the Fona feather. So if you have the Fona feather, the reason why it won't work so great is the Fona module itself runs off of the battery rather than the 3.3 volts. So you just can't use that on-off switch, like it won't actually work. It's okay if we don't have a photo by the way.
Plug in.
Plug in. Unplug. Replug.
It's not cooperating tonight.
Oh well. That's okay, whatever. I mean, it's pretty intuitive, like what's going on here.
I got it.
Okay, want to try?
Yeah, I'll do it again.
Okay. Don't jinx it.
Yeah.
So this is it. I just have the Huzzah feather plugged into it. So yeah, you have terminal blocks, and then you have headers to plug in. You can solder it directly in, but this way you have space for like the battery connector. And I just have it with an LED connected. So this is the screw terminals. They're pretty easy to use. You just use any Phillips head or flathead mini screwdriver, and then you can connect and disconnect stuff. So like wires and components. You can use probably like, I think like 16 to 30 gauge wire, something like that. You know, pretty much the most common wires that you'll need. And then, so you can, you basically just plug into USB on your feather as normal, and then you can turn it on and off with this switch. So I wasn't gonna add the switch, but I was like, you know what, that might be handy to actually have a mechanical switch on there. So it cuts power on and off to the feather. So it can be handy if you're prototyping and you wanna power cycle the whole setup. So that's it. I mean,
the terminal blocks is nice.
It's just like, it's really nice. I mean, like, this is one of the things that's like the benefit of having the feather standard, because all of the feathers have the same pinouts. I don't have to worry about like, I have to make one of these for the Bluetooth one, and one for the Fona, and one for the Ethernet, and one for the Wi-Fi. All of them are completely compatible. It's completely like, use whichever one you want. They will all fit. They all have the same core pinouts, and then the rest of the pins aren't labeled. You'll have to just look those up.
Okay. And getting to kind of the star of the show besides you tonight is the Pi.
The Pi 3! Wow!
So Pi 3's here. We have a few photos of the Pi 3, and this is the Internet of Things Pi, is what I'm going to say.
Yeah, this is the Internet of Things Pi. So the Pi 3, I just got my hands on one like 2 hours ago. So like really, all I did was
we'll do a live unboxing. Here you go.
So this
unbox it.
So it was okay. It was in this, and then I took it out. So this is the Pi 3, and it comes with a much thinner compliance thing, and they figured out a way to print it all, on one piece of paper rather than a booklet. So it's kind of nice. So the Pi 3 looks just like the Pi 2, but it has a BCM2837. It's an ARM Cortex V8. It's a 64-bit processor, but like all the ARM Cortex, it's backward compatible. So you can run code that's compiled for the V7 on this. So if Pi 2 code or B plus code that's compiled on Pi 2 or B plus, you can still run it on this processor. You do need a new kernel because it has like firmware to boot it up. But if you have the latest noobs, latest noobs works. I've noticed that the Raspbian that was released a couple days ago didn't work. They're probably going to update that in the next couple days. So just hold off on that, or just use noobs. Other things that changed is the SD card is no longer push-push. It's a now push-pull, which is actually kind of nice because I kept having these fly out, and you'd get bump them and it would fly out. I didn't like that. Still has 1 gig of RAM on the bottom, still has 4 USB ports, still has Ethernet 10100, still has the LAN 90 SMC, LAN 9514 from SMC, so it's a USB hub and Ethernet, which is lovely. Still has HDMI, camera, and display. Has a slightly better power supply. Apparently, I haven't looked at what the chip is, but the power supply can now do 2.5 amps.
We're gonna take one home, and we have this power thing that K-Tone.
Power monitor.
Yeah, so it's called Power Monitor, and we're going to run it through it.
Yeah, I'm going to measure the actual power draw and like during boot and stuff, which I did with the Pi 2 and the Pi 0. So I'm going to do that with the Pi 3. Note that although there's warnings about like, oh, you need 2.5 amps of current, that's only if you have like a ton of stuff plugged in, like external hard disk and like Ethernet's running at full blast, your everything, and like there's all these accessories, and like you're powering a display off of it or something. As is, it only uses about 700 milliamps. So as long as you're using a power supply, if you're really like, I just want to run this, minimally, as long as you have a 1 to 2 amp power supply, you're good to go. The power supplies we have in the store work great. We're going to work on maybe getting a revision to those to bump it up to 2.4, 2.5 amps. It's just a warning because there's some
And the big
people
things
asking.
are Wi-Fi and Bluetooth.
Yeah, and
those are the big things.
I didn't get to that yet.
I know.
So over here, so the really big change, other than of course the processor is 50% faster. It's a 1.2 gigahertz 64-bit processor, and it's a newer core. It's a V8 core. Over here there's a new antenna. This used to be LEDs. I'll zoom in. Oh, can you zoom in a little bit maybe? And
Yeah,
I
can zoom in.
can point to this thing. Yeah, that's great.
We'll have the other hover cams.
Yeah, all
its way.
sorts of stuff's
It's on
going to
its way.
happen. So this little white thing here is a 2.4 gigahertz antenna, and if you flip on the back, there's a chip here, and this is a wicked BCM 43343 something. I don't remember the exact part number. Wicked chipset, and it is a. Again, I haven't super investigated, but it's at least a dual band. It could be triple band device band functionality. It can do Bluetooth Low Energy. It can definitely do Wi-Fi because I booted up and I associated with the Wi-Fi and loaded up Adafruit. And I believe it also has Bluetooth Classic because Matt Richardson posted a video of it doing audio, and I didn't completely watch the whole video, but I think it can do Bluetooth Classic, Bluetooth Low Energy, and Wi-Fi. I think the Bluetooth support is still in progress, but Wi-Fi is definitely support out of the box. So that's really cool. And it uses SDIO, so you don't lose a USB port or an SPI port for it. It's basically built in. Another neat thing is apparently they're going to be working on an A+ version of this. So there'll be an A+, which is really great for Internet of Things because it'll be lower power, but still have a lot of functionality. Like it won't have all the USB ports and Ethernet. It'll be smaller, but it'll be like built-in Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and all that good stuff. So we got a small shipment. We are sold out of that small shipment so far. We're going to get more tomorrow. We're going to be constantly putting them in. We are not hoarding them. Trust me, the moment we get them in the store, we put them in the store and notify as many people as we can. We also have to ship them out. So please be patient. This happens every time there's a new Raspberry Pi. Don't worry. We've been assured that they're going to be plenty. You will get one. Just may take a couple days, so please be patient. Really, we are not doing anything to.
Yeah.
We're not like burning them. I don't know.
You know what? What's really neat is there's a lot of people that follow along. They're in the Adafruit community. They participate in the chats and everything, and they see us here, and they see that we have Pi Zeros, and we ran out, and then we did a contest with Hackaday, and they saw that was a way that we can get some free Pi Zeros. And when they come in, we have Pi Zeros, and then we also have packs for the people who want packs. And we do the best we can with big companies, giant companies that sell this stuff. You never know. Like it's actually us. Like when the Pis are gone, you can see the stack. Like we'll have, we're in the Adafruit factory. There is no other thing. These came in today and they shipped today. That's how fast it went. So, anyways, it's neat.
Yeah,
it's cool. The $35 supercomputer. So that's the Pi 3 itself.
Yep.
There is something else.
This is mine. I only have one for myself. I usually grab a couple, but
there is something else. We do have some packs that we're putting together now.
We have the starter kits. This is the starter kit that we normally have, except it doesn't include the Wi-Fi module because, of course, you don't need that anymore. It's built in, so that's great. So you do get a larger SD card. And you get a Pi 3, but you don't have to have external USB Wi-Fi dongle. So that's kind of handy. And we have a couple of those packs as well if you want a all-in-one starter kit.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that is your parts LADYADA.
Yay.
You did it.
Yep. So it's kind of fun. We had a little bit of Feather, a little bit of NeoPixel, a little bit of Pi.
Okay.
Yeah, the pies just came in, so it's exciting.
Here we go.
Okay, so want to do some questions?
Yeah, what we're going to do is, folks can post their Pi 3 questions where you'd like to get to those, so post that. And then we'll just grind through these. We have a bit of time.
Yeah, we have some time. We'll also have, of course, a trivia question.
Yeah, so that'll be at the end, but start posting your questions.
Okay.
Okay, LADYADA.
I'm ready.
Yeah, can you run Windows for IoT on the Pi 3? Any word on that?
Apparently you will be able to. I think that there is a developer image because I remember reading that they have, they did get the, what's funny is, we have a Windows 10 IoT pack and we're working with Microsoft, but out of politeness, we kind of would never mention that we knew about the Pi 3 to each other. So now that it's out, we're gonna work on making a Pi 3 pack because they apparently have a build for the Pi 3, but we didn't know about that until, it's just kind of one of those things where it's a little bit wink, wink, nudge, nudge. It's hey, let's wait 2 weeks and then see what happens. And then 2 weeks later, it's hey, the Pi 3 came out. So we're going to be working on that in the next couple of weeks, next month. We're definitely doing more stuff with Microsoft. I think it's awesome to see them taking part in the maker community. We're seeing more and more big companies that normally don't be hey, we want to be part of this. So they already released an image. So if you have Windows 10, and I think you just go to the Windows 10 IoT website. There was a post and it was click here to download the new image and then try it out and let us know how it goes.
Okay.
And it should work with the built-in Wi-Fi.
It's well known that computer hardware reliability can be affected by heat. How do I know if my Raspberry Pi needs a heat sink or a fan? Also, I understand the RPI has onboard temp sensor since there's no onboard cooling fan. Why? What do they have? What do the sensors actually do?
That's a really good question. Yes, if a computer gets too hot, and the guideline is you don't want to get above 150 degrees centigrade is usually the limit of electronics. That's how hot they can get before they start to degrade. I mean, it depends on what it is, but 150 degrees centigrade, which is extremely hot, by the way. So it's basically if there was a drop of water on it, it would boil off. That's very, very hot. I mean, that's the die temperature, and the package temperature is going to be a little bit lower, but still, you want to keep it under 120, 130 degrees C. So if you're running a Raspberry Pi 0, version 1, B+, or even a Pi 2, you don't need a fan or a heat sink. We've done thermal tests with them, even inside of a case, and we've never, ever seen anything that would indicate it could ever get anywhere close to those temperatures, not even, up to 100 degrees centigrade. That said, I did receive one email report from somebody who is tied with the Pi Foundation who said that the Pi 3 actually can get close to 100 degrees Celsius. If so, I'm going to verify this myself, adding a heat sink or a fan would be fine. I don't think you need a fan. I think a heat sink would be plenty. We have heat sinks in the store that are about a ½ inch by ½ inch. Use thermal tape, stick it on, and then you're probably good to go. So the second question is, well, what do you do? How does it cool itself off since there's no fan? So if you have a desktop computer, there's temperature sensors, and then the fan will turn on higher, so you'll actually hear it. You're the fan turns on to cool off the CPU, and of course there's a big heat sink with heat pipes. Clearly with a phone or a tablet, there is no fan. Although there was one tablet with a fan apparently once, but most tablets like your Nexus or your iPhone or your Android, they don't have fans. So what do they do when the temperature goes up too high? Well, that's where these advanced processors have the ability to change their processor speed. So the cool thing about the ARM Cortex.
The cool thing?
The cool thing, the awesome thing about these processors is, you might be running it at 1.2 gigahertz, but that speed actually can be ramped up and down. I don't know the details of the Cortex V8, but honestly, if they don't do that, then somebody there should do that because it's a good idea. They'll actually start slowing down the processor to reduce the amount of heat, because remember this power that's used in a processor is the switching. It's the switching frequency. That's what it's related to. So the higher the frequency, the more charge you have to pull off and on and off these gates, and multiply that by the number of gates, and that's where your heat is coming from the energy that's required to do that. So basically what the Pi will do, the chip does automatically, it will detect that the temperature is getting too high, and it'll go from 1.2 gigahertz to 1 gigahertz down to 800, and it will just keep reducing the speed until the temperature drops.
This is most of my breakfast conversations with LADYADA. This is all we talk about.
Drink your milk.
Yeah, and
brush your teeth, and
watch your clock frequencies.
And adjust your clock frequency. And that's really neat, because when you're dealing with something like an AVR or a PIC, you're clocking it at 8 megahertz or 40 megahertz, and that's it. That's what
my
that's what you
favorite
got.
processor was the Transmeta. Remember that? That was cool.
Yeah.
The Sony Vios had those briefly. Linus was involved with that.
Yeah,
anyways.
that didn't work out.
Okay.
But yeah, the ARM Cortex, they have a global clock, and then you can do clock divisions and stuff. And I'm learning a little bit about this because I'm using the ATSAM D21G18, which is in the Feather M0 and the Arduino Zero. And so I'm like learning about it, because I'm like, you don't have an external clock. You actually, it has an internal crystal, and then it phase lock loops to an external crystal to keep in sync, but actually it's completely dynamic how fast the clock goes, which is really good, actually. I mean, that's how it should be, right? You should be able to do, hey, I want to do some fast burst calculations, bump up the speed, and then you're like, hey, I'm in a rest mode or like a sleep mode, drop down to a lower frequency to save power.
Okay. So you got to speed run a little bit here, because we got a lot.
But that was a really good question.
Yeah.
So I want to
Okay.
answer it in detail.
All right. There's quite a bit here.
Yeah.
So just try to speed run.
Okay, well-
Can wood cases allow Wi-Fi out of Pi 3? Probably. Yeah. Okay.
Wood's fine. Even metal cases, apparently, the Andes case was tested, and apparently, because there's a glass top,
Okay.
it works okay.
Does the Pro Trinket work with the Adafruit Huzzah CC2000 Wi-Fi board?
It can, but it's not suggested. I would actually go to the Wink 1500 module. We're slowly discontinuing the CC3000.
Okay, can the Pi B+, Pi 0, Pi 2, and Pi 3 all run the same application executable?
Yes, if it's compiled for the lowest common denominator of those, which I believe is the Pi 0,
Okay.
because the BCM 2835. So anything compiled for the lowest chip will run on the higher chips.
Okay, are we going to incorporate the Raspberry Pi Bluetooth Wi-Fi chip on any of our boards like a Feather?
Kinda. We do have a Wicked Feather that is in design. It's not completed yet, but we're working on it, and it uses a similar chip tied with an STM32 processor, but it doesn't have, the one we have only does Wi-Fi, doesn't do Bluetooth low energy and Bluetooth Classic, although hopefully one day we'll get that chip. Broadcom is a little interesting to deal with.
Okay, next up. What will need to be done to get the FM functionality on the new Pi 3 chipset to be usable from OS land?
I don't know what FM functionality that is. I don't know that there's...
This person
radio?
wants to try the SAM R21 for 6 low-pan wireless mesh networks. Does Arduino have any support for it? I don't think so.
Not yet,
yeah.
but wouldn't it be cool if like some open source company that you knew about was working about adapting the Arduino course? They can make like, a SAM21R Feather. Like that would be really
From
neat.
the desk of LADYADA Preps. Okay, what's a good gigabyte size for SD card for the Pi 2 Model B?
You can actually go as little as 2 gigabytes if you're using Jessie Lite. You can install Jessie with a 4 gigabyte, but an 8 gigabyte is kind of what I would go with. It gives you plenty of space. You can run noobs if you want, have multiple, 2 or 3 distros on there.
Okay, next up, if I want to connect multiple LED matrices, what would be the best way to connect several Pis together?
You would probably network them over like Ethernet or Wi-Fi. That's the easiest way to connect them. I mean, they have TCP/IP stacks. Just use them.
What are the legalities of bundling apps in a Pi image and making an image from it and sharing it? Well, it depends. You might have
It
to
totally
look at
depends on the app.
each license.
Yep.
It might matter, and that's why generally, just as far as like social norms, like if you're not selling it and you're not being destructive, if it's a helpful thing, people don't seem to care that much. But there are people.
There are
who,
some apps that care. MAME, for example,
MAME
is
you
not
can't
for
you can't do that no matter what, not even for free.
Nope. So instead, what you do is you just have a download.
You link to it, yeah.
You link to it, then
Okay.
people download it.
When will the Pi 0 I2S stack be available?
No ETA. Still working on it.
Okay. I'm looking at started in Feathers, but I'm sure what exactly they are. Is it simply expansion boards for things, or are they specific for use with other feathers?
So the feather family is basically a kind of fixed size and pinout for different chips. I try to focus on the most popular chips, such as the Mega 32U4 or the ATSAM D21. But we're also going to maybe have STM32, we have ESP8266, and all these have the same sort of pinout. And so the feather wings, basically the idea is like, instead of, like I like the idea of Arduino shields, like you have an Arduino shield and you have multiple things that have Arduino shield compatibility. So it's kind of like that, but I want to have even more flexibility and its smaller size. So the I2C and SPI and UART pins and power pins are on the same location. So for example, I have like an OLED feather wing. You can plug that in and have an OLED display for any of the different processors because they all use I2C and the I2C pins are in the same location. Or if you want to add SD card for data logging, the SPI pins are in the same location. Or if you want to add GPS, the GPS pins, the UART pins are in the same location. So it's kind of a standardization. So instead of having like 8 different like IMUduino and Blueduino and like ESP node MCU, it's just like they're all standard and I don't have to recreate the same motor driver shield, the same LED matrix. It's just like there's one standard for all the stuff that I do. And it's becoming very popular, so that's good.
Will software design for the Pi 2 still work on the Pi 3?
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything you do on a Pi 2 and not on a Pi 3?
No. So, I mean, there's some software that hasn't been ported yet, but it will be.
How would the 64-bit ability of this new awesome Pi be used in the future? I'm thinking of putting more intense computational code on board, speech processing, etc.
Absolutely. The 64-bit capability will let you, of course, process larger amounts of data faster. Right now, I don't believe there's a 64-bit kernel, and I don't even know that there's a 64-bit compiler for it. That's like free. I have to look into it. So it's very new, and the Pi Foundation is like, it's not the 64-bitness that is what was exciting for them. For them, they were more interested in the higher speed, the 1.2 gigahertz speed, and which they got, and also adding Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. So I'm not sure what's going to happen with 64, but it is a 64-bit processor. If you can get the compiler, compile code, see how it compares.
Can you recommend a source for the Pi 2, Pi 3 enclosure for permanent outdoor use?
I don't. Actually, I don't know of one.
Okay. I think you might have to make one. And then next up, no, I mean, like, no, not us. I mean,
yeah,
like
not us. Yeah,
I mean, we have enclosures. You can drill them in like Sugru and do a bunch of things, but like
it's
stuff,
outdoor use. There's a lot of work that you have to do to make something for outdoor use.
Okay. Anything that's out of stock, just sign up, and you'll get an email when they get back in stock. Next up. Are we going to move to a new build coding system for the UDEV boards in addition to Arduino, more flexibility, support of Freescale parts TI?
I don't know what UDEV is.
Yeah, okay. Can the ultimate GPS shield be used with the Mega?
Yeah, kinda. It's actually, it can, but it's not great for it because the SD card, it won't work on the Mega. I have to redesign it. So for right now, it kind of works, but it's not designed for it.
Okay. All right. And let's see.
Do a little dance.
Yeah.
Do a little
That's
Nefertiti.
everything. Oh, how long did it take to 3D print the Nefertiti?
That's actually for Noah and Pedro to answer, but I believe it was a 24-hour print.
Yeah. Okay. And then what type of filament was that?
This is like a hemp plastic filament. So there's like hemp fibers, which kind of give it a cool texture. It has like a soft texture to it. And, it's not a solid color, which I kind of like. It gives it a very natural, kind of a wooden look. But I don't remember the name of it. Check out the 3D Hangouts video because they talk all about what filament they used and how long it took to print, all the settings, everything.
Last up.
Yeah.
Will Bluetooth auto pairing work on the board be possible? This is a Pi 3. Will the new faster CPU be able to render MP4 files and play VLC? That I don't know.
That I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I just got this an hour ago.
We just got these an hour ago. So auto pairing, I mean...
I don't know. It's up to Linux. If Linux can do auto pairing, you can do auto pairing.
Eventually it seems like that would be possible because it's a software thing that would be interacting with hardware. And then encoding the MP4s, it can play YouTube. We know that.
Yeah, you really do.
It's getting closer.
For these sorts of details, you actually have to get one and try it out because it depends on how big is the thing? Are you doing it over Ethernet or Wi-Fi? All these, like, what's your exact encoding, specification? So try it out. I mean, like, possibly. I don't see why not, but you'll have to try it out.
And you know what time it is now? We're going to give away a Pi 3.
Yes. Bam.
Yep.
This Pi 3, not this exact one, because this is mine, but you will get a fresh one that I haven't touched.
Okay. So what are the rules, LadyAda?
The rules are, if you've won anything from this show before, you can't win again. Please don't enter. Please don't type in the answer. Please don't help people. We want to make sure everybody has a chance to win something. You won something. Wasn't that awesome? Didn't you feel proud of yourself for knowing the answer? Let somebody else have that chance too. So please sit on your hands and go get a coffee. You are going to win a Pi 3, a new Pi 3. We have one that we have saved. They're made in the UK. They're awesome. They're new. They're fresh. They're otherwise sold out. The first person to answer the question that Phil comes up with will be the winner.
Yeah.
What is the question?
The question is, what is the name of our video contest that has flying things? There's a...
We talked about the judges.
Yeah, we talked about the judges.
Annalise is a judge.
What's the
Star
name?
Simpson is a judge.
And it's adafruit.com/ and the name of the contest.
What is the name?
What is the name of the
this
contest? I want everyone
videos,
to... Yeah.
and they're like flying.
Congratulations. Space the Age in YouTube. This was a close one because both of those are almost at the same time. Space the Age.
Space the Age. You showed up first in our chat. You win a Raspberry Pi 3. All you have to do is email support@adafruit.com and say, hey, I won PID 3055. 3055, please put that in there. Pi 3, and they will ship you a product number 3055, and you will get it, and you'll be happy, and it's free.
Yep.
So email support@adafruit.com.
Okay. And thank you so much.
Yay! Yay! It was a show.
That's it. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. Let's see.
Nefertiti thanks you too.
Yeah. So that's the show for tonight. Let's pay some bills. Don't forget, SkinnyPixel is the code all the way up to 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time tonight. You get 10% off. So if you didn't win, you can still win big by saving some dollars.
And we will have more Pi 3s as soon as they come in. Really, the minute they come in, we put them in stock. We do not wait. We do not stop. We do not pass go.
Yeah. We don't need.
Okay.
Okay, and don't forget, we do Desk of LadyAda during the week. Tomorrow is 3D Hangouts. It's a very special thanks to everyone out there who helps us and supports us in the community and the audience out there. We do not have a single loan. There is no venture capital. There is nothing besides you, our customers, so thank you so much. This is what makes the lights stay on here and motivates us and our team to ship great electronics to lots of people around the world. So thank you.
Yay! We work really, really hard all the time.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it. We'll see everybody next week. Here's a picture of a cat. And
if you watch Desk of LadyAda, you can see live cats sometimes.
Here is your moment of Zener.